Okay, so in this video, we're going to talk about push buttons. So the most basic manual type of operation of motor control circuits. So we're going to look just here at some different types, talk about the contacts, the difference between normally open and normally closed, and just look at some different styles of push buttons. Okay, so a push button is just a simple momentary device that an operator can use to control the current flow to some type of load in our control circuit. So a push button contains an actuator, what the operator actually pushes, and then you have the contacts that control current flow to the device. All right, so we're going to look at some different types here and look at more details about how they operate. So push buttons can come in different sizes, different configurations, and they can be used for different purposes depending on what it is specifically that we are controlling. For example, here is just a simple push button that only has one set of contacts, and we can see here from the symbol on the side that it is a normally closed push button. And I know this because the symbol is connected from the left to right side here between the contacts, the two screw terminals where I connect my wires to. So if I actually look inside here, I can see the actual contacts. Okay, so you can actually see it moving inside there. So if you look here and here, you can see the physical contact is touching. When I push it, the contact opens and there's a gap between the two sides of the contacts which connect to the screw terminals here. And you can also see inside here this spring. So this is what makes a push button a momentary device, because when I push it down, it opens the contact, but as soon as I release it, the spring forces it back to its normal state. So this is a normally closed push button. When I activate it, it opens the contacts, and then the spring pushes it back to its closed position. All right, so this one here has two sets of contacts. So this is considered a make or break push button because it has both a normally open and a normally closed. So up top here it's normally closed, and then when I push it, those contacts open. At the bottom is the normally open contact, and when I push it, it closes and makes contact at the bottom. Okay, how well you can see that because of the reflection here, but you can see it changing state and the spring return. So if I flip over here, I can see my wiring connections as well as the symbols to indicate the normally open and normally closed contacts. So this has both, and this is considered a make break push button. Okay, so here's another one that has essentially the same thing, two sets of contacts that open and close. So you can see this top one here is closed, and then this is the open one, and I push it, it changes state. I release it, it goes back to its normal state. Okay, so the actual operator can be different sizes, different colors. So here's some different ones down here. They're all different color operators, as they're called. The actual button themselves can be different colors just to use to indicate different types of control. And then you have the contact on the bottom, and you can have different sets of contacts. So these little blocks here are the contacts that are either normally open or normally closed. And you can change that to be whatever configuration that you want to. So here I have some that's loose. So that is the normally closed contact which you can see by the symbol here, it's closed, and this green one is a normally open contact. So you see the gap which has it open right there. Okay, so the operator pushes this to actually change the state of the contacts. So these, you can't actually see the contacts inside there, but they are normally open and normally closed with a spring return. So that's what these type here are using. So this one here is another type, and it's actually has a light built into it. So it's an illuminated push button. So it has contacts to control, but it also has a pilot light, which that's the symbol for that there. So it's lit up. All right, and then you can have a combination push button like this one, which has two separate operators and two separate contacts, so they're activated independently. So for these, I could have two sets of contacts on here like that, but they're both going to be activated at the exact same time. See, they're both moving as I push that button. Okay, but this one is two separate operators. So I have one here and one here, so that changes them independently. So that one is changing the red, which is the normally closed, and that changes the green, which is normally open. So this can be used for a start-stop application. Okay, so I can have the red one for my normally closed, which would be my stop button, and the green for my start button, which controls the normally open contact. Okay, so again, this is the operator. This is what is external of the control cabinet or box that the operator can push, and then this would be on the inside of the control panel where I connect my wires. So I have two terminals on each contact, one for power coming in, one for power going out. All right, so I have right here is the actual connection. So this is where I'll bring my wire in. So I need to make sure I strip a little bit of the insulation off so I can connect my wire under that terminal and then screw it down tight so that it doesn't come out. Okay, so pretty simple. You just have to pay attention to the contacts, whether it's normally open or normally closed, so that you get the right connection that you need depending on what type of process you're doing. But that is some different types of push buttons and how they operate.